Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Roll for Crit video. However, usually you come here for board game stuff, but that's a bit depressing. So instead, we're going to go on something a little bit more positive with you being able to join us for one of our favorite summer activities. Now, if you've watched Roll for Crit for a while, you've probably heard us talk about the Summer Movie Wager. This is a fun little contest between myself, Jonathan, Ivan, and any of our friends who decide to participate, in which we try to guess the gross rankings, domestically speaking, of what movies will make during the summer period. And we do this video or in our podcast, so we thought we'd do it again here. And of course, if you can't tell already, I am joined by Ivan and Jonathan. So thank you so much for joining me to make this video and try to have a little bit more fun and levity, even though we may be arguing in a few moments when it comes to movies.
I am not going to have any fun.
I'm so excited. It's always fun to do this wherever, no matter where we are or where we end up, it's some way, shape, or form. It's always fun to do this and record it so that this is how we keep ourselves from arguing too much. Because if people are watching, we can't say the really mean things we really want to say.
Well, no, that's why my phone's out. I'm going to text you guys the really mean stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So, yes, that's for personal. That's for later. You got to pay extra for the Ivan unfiltered section.
Yes.
But for those who don't know, like I said, we put these rankings, but it is part of a site. And one of the reasons we also like doing this is you can actually join in with us. You can search Summer Movie Wager and you can make your own list. And then you can add our usernames. I will be roll the number 4 in crit. I'm going to have everyone's names just on the screen because it's easier that way. Turns out you're only allowed 10 characters, so I can't do roll for crit all spelled out usually. And this way you can see our list against yours, and as the summer progresses, see how we go up and down in scores, because depending on the rankings, you get more points the closer it is to where you guessed it. So it's a lot of fun, and we will have our lists up by the time this video is live. So definitely, maybe this is a time for you to pause and try to make your own lists without hearing what our information and our lists are. That said, just because if you watch this doesn't mean you're going to have a perfect list.
I think you will. Just follow me, baby.
Yes,
just follow me.
Just
every year.
Ivan.
It's crystal. It's great.
Now, you don't have to take part in this, but recently we added a thing with the winner being able to tell the losers what to watch. Last year, Jonathan, you had us watch RRR. Very good movie. Definitely go watch it. But this is a way that we have to feel guilty to actually watch this stuff instead of just being like, oh, well, we'll watch it based on your suggestion.
You don't have to watch it.
The same will be here, but we don't say what that is until the end. So we'll probably do a video when the summer ends, and whoever wins will say what we have to watch. But without further ado, we're going to start, and we're actually going to start from 1 and going down because it's actually more interesting the lower you go on the list. Most people are usually generally in agreement who's going to make the most money.
Most of us.
Most years.
We'll see. I don't know. I don't know. Can we just?
I'm not saying this year, but on average, usually I'd say the top half is much closer than the bottom half. And that's like, if you tend to do this, that's usually at the end of the year, you're watching like, will number 10 stay there? Is it going to get kicked off the list? That's always where the fun anxiety is. But I'll start us off and we'll.
Can we just, before we actually get into it, I just want to say that this year is I think we probably say this every summer, but I think particularly this summer, it was a very tough summer. There are a lot of big franchise movies. I have been making changes to my list up until 20 minutes ago.
Oh, 100%.
And I have, listen, not to brag or anything, but the last 2 years, I was the winner.
Cheater.
Pause for applause. I don't know if I ever feel confident, to be honest, but I really don't feel confident this year. I think this is maybe your guys' year to take down my crown.
I'll start us off, then Ivan, Jonathan, and Jonathan, you'll go again and back and forth.
Okay.
So, my number 1, what I decide to, and I'll say this, my 1 and 2 were bouncing,
Sure.
but I finally locked in.
Sure.
Okay.
Is going with none other than the Man of Steel, the Superman movie, which I believe is just Superman, correct?
Yes, it is just Superman.
Okay.
By the sound of it, I am the only one.
I am poker face. I will not give you anything.
Right, because you'll say my reasoning. One, I've heard a lot of people seem really excited about this to at least see it. We don't know whether it will be good or not. DC tends to not be as great when it comes to Marvel.
Right.
But I feel Marvel has been lagging a little bit more in movies recently. And I feel DC has accidentally had a bit of a breaks, even though I think the Flash movie was last year and stuff. They don't feel as cohesive when all the Marvel movies just feel like a continuation.
Right.
So that's what pushed me a little bit over. And like Superman and Batman are the DC heroes. Like if a DC movie's going to do great, it's those two.
Yeah.
Nothing against any Marvel movies that are coming out this summer, which we will. I mean, how can we not talk about them?
There are 2 of them.
Right.
But it just felt, this is why I felt like this is probably the one everyone's going to feel like, I need to at least see this.
It is a new, also, you know, regardless of what you think of the recent DC movies, this is supposedly this first start of their new.
Yeah, that
Right.
too.
Thing.
It feels like a restart. And it is, let me make sure I have this right, because one of the things always is, what date does the movie come out?
Yes.
Very important. And the other big Marvel movie that I'm at least more curious about, it does release about, is it actually 2 weeks? Oh no, it is actually exactly 2 weeks before it, which I think is going to help a lot.
Superman comes out first, you're saying, right?
Yes. On July 11th is what I have here.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So that is my reasoning, and I don't
Okay.
know, Ivan, if you want to discuss or anything, or say
Yeah.
your number one.
I'm just going to leave. No, my number one, because I don't want to discuss too much because this movie, the one you picked, will be coming up on my list. But my number one, I chose, and my number one has moved about 35 times in the last day. But I chose Jurassic World Rebirth as my number one movie, mainly because just going off how well the last one did monetarily. I don't know if it definitely wasn't opening weekend, but it did, in its theatrical run, almost $1 billion. So that seems pretty high. You know, yeah, there could be the issues with it of like, you know, we've had a bunch of Jurassic Park World movies come out. So it's like people could be tired of them, where I could see Superman being higher potentially, which is why it's moved around a bunch for me, because we haven't had a real solo Superman movie, 10 years?
Maybe longer? It's been a long time.
Right.
To give you a little bit credit, Jurassic Park is what's being represented on our screens right now. So
now
it's made it there.
it's also interesting too, because it does come out July 2nd. And I know that could be hit or miss the week of July 4th with movies, just with, either people doing outdoor stuff or not. But it's also like, if it's a rainy weekend, a lot of people will go see the movie. But it was kind of like a shot in the dark for me, but I did like move my top 3 around quite a bit because they are big names. But if you look at the rest of my list or the rest of the other lists, they're all big name movies. So
I definitely want to return to that once we all hit our top 3, because it might be something we all are just, because we've all talked about how our list has changed at the last minute. So
yeah,
it definitely feels like this is something to return to when we hit that 3.
and yeah, Jurassic Park, dinosaurs, kids, adults, people love dinosaurs. Jonathan?
Kids, adults, people love dinosaurs.
This is my pitch for president too. People love dinosaurs.
You have my vote.
Look, if you bring back dinosaurs, you got my vote.
All right. So this is this is real interesting. This is real tough, It's always a gamble for these things, for every choice. But Ivan is now positioned as this will either be good news or bad news for Ivan. Because I'm aligning with Will, and my number one is also Superman for a couple of reasons. Number one, like you said, with Superman being the DC guy, it's just Superman is the most recognizable thing on the planet, probably.
Right.
Like that, the Superman logo has got to be up there with Mickey Mouse and Mario in terms of, you go to Zimbabwe, you go to Northern Canada, you go to Ireland. Doesn't matter where you go.
You mean hope, though, right?
Right.
The symbol of hope.
The S means hope, of course, as we learned in, was that Man of Steel? It doesn't matter.
I think.
Or
Yeah.
was that Superman Returns? There's too many at this point. Yeah, so it has so much going for it in terms of just brand recognizability.
Right.
I also have a lot of confidence in James Gunn, who is directing this movie, writing this movie, and not just that, he is the new head of the DC movie universe now. And I think that he recognizes the pressure that puts him under. Because if this movie isn't huge for DC, like this is their Iron Man, you know, they need this to be huge to spin off into all their sequels for people to care about them. It's Superman. Like, he's the linchpin. You have to get this right. And I think that he is going to knock that out of the park. I feel like it's a little risky still. There's a chance it doesn't hit number one, but it's a little bit of a heart pick for me too.
That's the reason why I was back and forth with where my position was, because like Superman is like America's superhero. I mean, Captain America, whatever. But, you know, like it was like the first superhero a lot of people knew about the comics. You know, like, so this is like
it defines.
It's the icon of what a superhero is. Right.
There's a reason why you look at Invincible and The Boys.
Right.
And like the main surprise, or not surprise, like the main antagonist of the twist on heroes is a Superman clone.
Right.
Yeah. I also think that this is, you know, it's going to be a hopeful movie. It's going to be a colorful, optimistic.
I would hope so, and that's not me being silly.
Yeah.
Like, that I think that's what a Superman movie is supposed to be.
People are going to want to
be a Boy Scout.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to be the like feel good summer movie that everyone's going to want to see. I think that's my number one. However, it's because I now go to my number two, right? Number two is where I have Jurassic World Rebirth. Jurassic World movies there's always the question of when is a franchise gonna hit its diminishing returns. And
you mean like that few years back with Pirates and Transformers? I'm like, this will definitely be in the top three.
Right.
And I think it was 9 and 10.
Right. There's at some point, because Transformers exactly seemed bulletproof. And then it finally hit a point where people said, we don't want this anymore. So it always seems like maybe Jurassic World or Park will hit that. I don't think it's going to yet. This is also, it's in the title, a rebirth. It's the same continuity, but it is like a soft reboot. I haven't watched the trailer, so I'm not sure exactly to what extent, but it's a new cast and all that stuff. So I think that's going to give it a big push. It's going to have a different look, a different feel, which I think will help offset any fatigue people might have. And it's dinosaurs. Like everybody, like you said, Ivan, every demographic wants to see dinosaurs.
Right.
It's gonna do monstrous numbers. It could hit number one. I don't know. We'll see. But I have it at 2.
Here's hoping.
Here's hoping it doesn't.
Yeah. Like I said, the same thing. Like those two were back and forth for me in my top 3 movies. But my number 2 isn't Superman.
Wow.
My number 2 is a Superman. It's the number 2 is Mission Impossible. The Final Reckoning.
Here's the Ivan I know and love pulling the curveballs on me.
Yeah. But it's done so well in the past. It's technically the second part, but even though it's not anymore. But I think this is going to do quite well. It's done quite well in years past. You know, it's $571 million. And it's an early movie. It's a May release.
Yes. I actually had it here.
Just like The Fall Guy worked out perfect for The Fall Guy.
But it is May 23rd, so it's basically a full month before all the big movies we've been talking about.
Right, and I don't think there's a lot of movies that come out in May, but nothing, I don't know. We'll see that later on the list. But I do think it's going to do quite well. They're advertising the heck out of it. It is everywhere from what I've seen, which is either a hit or a miss because, you know, Superman, I haven't really seen advertised up until this week. And,
well,
you know,
actually,
it comes out a lot later, so it hasn't like ramped up yet. But
right.
Yeah.
So this is something I always find really interesting in general with our discussions. I feel generally, just knowledge-wise, the two of you are better being like, oh, this director, these actors, I've seen when they do well or bad. So that definitely influences you guys' choices more than mine because I'm just not good with names. I'm like, ooh, that has that cool looking thing. But I always feel like Ivan and me bring up advertising more. I don't know whether we just tend to watch it. I know, Jonathan, you choose to avoid trailers, which unfortunately 9 times out of 10 now is better because they spoil half the stuff in movies.
However, I do look at trailer view counts online.
I did for this one. But like because of that, which actually, Ivan, if you have anything more to say, that will bring me to my number 2.
No, basically, I just think, it's supposedly the final movie of the franchise. It's, big name to it, who's a true movie star. And yeah, I think these movies are. This is when you say a blockbuster movie, it's this movie, it's this franchise. It's it's had its hit or misses over the years, but I've always loved them, and it was it had to be a number two for me, especially with IMAX 3D. Like, it is a production more than just a movie.
A lot of the big movies, like we're talking like, oh, we think they're gonna make a lot of money. It's sort of how Jonathan you little hinted at. We're not sure. They could be bad. They can make a lot of money, but they could be bad.
Right.
I feel Mission Impossible will be safe that all three of us will still enjoy it.
Right.
Like that's like remember, we're not ranking on whether these movies are good or not. We're ranking on whether they'll make money.
Right.
That's
like I was, a lot of my list this year, like I went hard on the what did it make?
I think it was last year I was joking how like if we made a list of ranking the movies we liked versus how much money they make, it was inversed.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see.
But my number two, I'm a little worried now. I did not put Jurassic World.
Wow, shocked.
I
a little
put
shocked.
the Fantastic Four First Steps.
Huh.
While Marvel, I think, has been not doing as well recently, Fantastic Four has been one a lot of people have been dying to see. And I think a lot of people are super excited about this movie. I remember when the trailer dropped, everyone was excited. And I think it has two other really big things going for it.
The Thing.
One.
Boo this man.
The Thing.
One is who's playing Mr. Fantastic.
Pedro Pascal.
Yes, Pedro Pascal, America's like dream father. He's taken all the roles of like so happy
Our
to see
zaddy.
it. Everyone's so yeah.
Daddy.
He's not a zaddy.
So everyone I think is gonna want to see him there. The other big thing, actually, I think it's gonna pull in a lot more of the younger generation. Here, actually, I think the big thing that's gonna help out this movie is actually Marvel Rivals. This has been the huge Marvel video game, and earlier their first season pass, I forget what they call it, had the Fantastic Four added. So they were refreshing everyone's minds, and I've seen so many people talk about how much they love Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, though Invisible Woman might be with the character design. We don't need to talk about that here. And the Thing. Haven't heard much about the Torch. So, but the fact that they're sort of
he's
been
hot.
pushed into the zeitgeist again.
Yeah, I didn't. So it's on my list. I haven't even thought about that for this high up, just because I've been burned before by this movie, and I feel like they try.
Other versions of this movie, you mean?
No,
Well,
I
yes.
think that is fair. There have been previous Fantastic Four, and I don't think anyone is claiming to hold them up against any of the recent superhero movie.
Right.
But I also think it's been so far since we've seen those that it's not like compared to I think the DC movies. Even though I put this DC above it, I think we've been burned by DC movies and Jurassic movies more than the Fantastic Four.
Now, my only issue too, and I'll come back to this more when I talk about it, is it also comes out in the same month as other superhero movies.
July,
which is late. It is July 25th.
July is. I don't think the lateness is a big deal, but I just say July. The three movies, Superman, Jurassic World, and Fantastic Four, are all July. Like within
Spoilers.
they're like 1 week, then the next, then the next. Crazy month.
Yeah,
but we have seen a late Marvel movie make it to number one before.
Sure. Guardians of the
Yeah,
Galaxy with
absolutely.
James
It was
Gunn
Guardians.
came out first week of August, and hit number one.
So that's why I do think all three of these movies easily have a chance. They will be the movies people talk about.
The big question for me then, did you at least put Jurassic World at number 3?
That is my number 3.
Okay.
I agree with a lot of what you said. I do think that it is, in essence, like Superman, a restart. Which I think is a good thing. It means people won't have to feel like, oh, maybe I missed the other movie, or I need to catch up on what happened. It's just like, oh, it's another. But I do feel that the Jurassic series, I think it was you, Ivan, talked about, or was it you, Jonathan?
Who knows?
When a franchise fails.
Yeah.
I have a feeling this might be it for Jurassic World.
it could be.
I have this as a fan. You know, I wore the shirt for a reason.
Right.
I have this suspicion we're not going to come out of this movie as positive compared to the other two big movies we talked about, or 3 movies if you count Mission Impossible. We've talked about so far.
Yeah, I think that is a major issue with like oversaturating and not having enough time between a lot of these franchises, is that we're like kind of killing them and not getting the excitement in between summers. Like, having them come out within what was the last Jurassic World movie?
It wasn't last summer, was it? It was the year before, I think.
No,
2 years ago.
no. It was definitely not last summer because I can look at
No,
previous
yeah,
lists.
no, it wasn't. It was 2 years ago.
But I
2
feel
summers
like
ago.
it's like they don't give people enough time to miss something anymore.
Sometimes.
And
Well,
I feel
it's
like
not even-
that's what like I feel like Superman might do well with this. Fantastic Four could, because like it's giving you that window where it's like, even like me sometimes it's like, okay, cool, another Jurassic World movie coming out, but it's like, okay, it's another Jurassic World movie. So that's like sometimes like I could see that pushing people over the edge of like, that franchise is done with me.
I'll just say two things quick, and then Ivan can do his next thing.
Yeah, sorry.
We'll just go on an 18-minute tangent in between every one of these. But one thing, there are no other dinosaur movies. There just aren't any. So,
Like at all.
yes. So I think the fatigue doesn't hit as hard
The
because
closest is Godzilla.
right, like people always want to see dinosaurs, and there is not like a superhero movie where there's other options. There's no
Right.
other options. If you want a dinosaur, this is your ticket right here. So that gives it a boost. I do
Land Before
think
Time.
I don't know about the mass audiences, but I do think that at least you and I maybe won't love this one as much. It's Gareth Edwards is helming this, who did like the first American Godzilla, the 2014 one, and Rogue One. And I'm very like, he's very hit or miss for me. I think he has a great visual style, but sometimes everything he does doesn't always work for me. So I'm curious to see how it goes.
So
We'll see.
my number 3, I'm just gonna
Mhm.
Please.
Yeah.
number 3, Superman. Like I said, my top 3 movies have juggled around, all for the same reasons why you guys have said it. It's an iconic name. It's like it's America's superhero. It's been a while since it's come out. I know there was Superman. He was in other movies, I think, right? Between his last movie.
Yes, he's been in movies, but like a Superman movie. There's a
Right.
huge difference of him, appearing at the end of Shazam.
And it's funny too that you mentioned that, like, his logo and stuff is like everywhere. I did note, like, I kind of like take notice of that kind of stuff. And like, there hasn't been like as many Superman t-shirts when you walk into like a store or whatever, but there will be the Jurassic Worlds, those shirts. So I think it is, we're in a middle place of like it being time for another Superman, but also some people might have not forgotten, but like,
I mean, forget
it's not
the logo. If I do this, you know what I'm doing, right? It doesn't look good on camera.
Not even that. It's the one arm.
But the like,
Right.
yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. It's universal.
why-
People like it.
top
Yeah.
3. Like, I think that's a good spot
I think
for this movie.
we're definitely on agreement. It's got to be it's got to make money.
And I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know if any of you saw the trailer. It's super cute. That's all I'm going to say right there. So I don't.
Well, no, I
But, like,
remember everyone when the trailer dropped. It's going to be really funny if it bombs and just seeing all 3 of us just like, oh god, oh no,
There's no way it bombs. There's no way it bombs. But I think it's a guaranteed top 3. I just don't know where it's going to fall.
Right.
Okay, my number 3 is one nobody has said yet that was initially at my 4 spot, but I came back to it and I thought, in pretty much every summer, somewhere in that top 3, if not number 1 or 2, there's always got to be a kid's movie of some kind. And you could argue Superman or Fantastic Four have crossover appeal in that area, even Jurassic World too, they all do. But my number 3, I put Lilo and Stitch. This is coming out Memorial Day weekend, pretty early in the summer, big weekend for movies. It has gotten lots of positive buzz. Not for me. I think it looks bad, but people love Stitch. He might be number 2 behind Superman in terms of the merch, the t-shirts, the stuffed animals. Look at that. Look at that little fella right there. People love him. I think the nostalgia that's built up from also people from our generation, from the first movie, the Disney live action movies have been hit or miss in terms of box office, but I think this one Stitch is strong enough. It's going to sidestep what issues people had with Snow White or Mufasa.
Well, that is actually the interesting thing I thought about when making this list of when it came to the live action stuff was that Snow White, hearing reports of how it did terrible and made no money. That said, it still made quite a bit.
Right. It made,
Look
it
at
made
where
no
it
Disney
is.
money. It
Right.
did.
And I think one of the big differences of Lilo and Stitch versus all the other live actions, which will give you more evidence to you, even though I didn't put it in my top 3, is I feel because it's set in modern times, and I don't think Lilo and Stitch has felt as milked as all the other Disney classics.
I think it's going to be huge, and it's early in the summer, and the next, like, other than those superhero things, there's not really another kids movie until maybe How to Train Your Dragon is like 3 weeks later. I think it's going to be a really good summer movie.
Now-
and just like it's
Jonathan.
Hawaii. It's going to have legs, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What is going to be its chicken jockey moment?
Chicken Pleaky. Pleaky? I messed up his name. I messed
They
up his
just
name.
burned the theater down. That's what happens. It's like if a volcano goes off, theaters.
Stitch Jockey. Okay. So that's Lilo and Stitch is my number 3. Now, like I said, I'm not super confident. I think my top 3 picks are okay, but I think my number 4 is fantastic.
Get out.
The first
Now,
steps.
you do not get neither of you get bonus points for putting Fantastic Four at 4. I want to make that clear. That's
Then I need
no
to.
bonus points for that.
I need to.
I did have this at 3 for a while. I swapped it with Lilo. I do think it's going to do really well. I'm a little nervous about it. Like you said, Marvel has had ups and downs. Deadpool and Wolverine was huge. Captain America was very not huge.
Right.
They're in kind of a weird place right now. I do think this is going to do a lot better on the strength of, like you said, the cast, as well as, I don't know if it's confirmed. I don't think it is, but there's a pretty good chance we get at least a cameo from Robert Downey Jr. in this movie. This is
Oh, right. How I didn't even think about that. He's playing Doom, who's their thing.
right. At least,
So everyone's going to want to hear about that.
well, and this is the movie next summer, I think, is the next Avengers movie. So,
Right.
like, this is our lead into that. They're going to be setting that movie up here. So I do think it's going to, if it's, as long as it's good, it's going to have really good word of mouth. I think of all the ones I've said so far, Fantastic Four is the most dependent on people liking it. And if it's really good and exceeds expectations, it could hit 4 or higher. And if it's just okay, it might drop and not be as big of a splash. I don't know.
So this is something I did research-wise. I was just curious if you saw this, Jonathan. It's one of the things that made me, one of the reasons I put it higher. You brought up Captain America not doing so well.
Yeah.
That said, right now it's made about 200 million.
Domestic, I assume.
And back, yes,
Yeah.
domestic, according to, I'm looking at Box
This is
Office
just
Mojo.
domestic, by the way, for if we didn't say that.
Yes. And
Right.
it's also February, to be clear. But the
Yeah.
reason I bring it up is Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, which released around the same time, like I think 4 days later, also made about 200. And that one was considered, like, I think that one of the worst Marvel movies. And it was still number 8 for that year.
Right.
So I still feel like I would be shocked if Fantastic Four is of the same quality as those two. Like, those two movies are considered lower.
Mhm.
And I think it's just because they were,
Yeah.
Are they the
it's-
third in their-
quality is
their
definitely
line?
going to be higher, I think, for sure.
when Superman, I think, could be bad, it'll still be top 3.
Right. Jurassic World could be a terrible movie. It's still hitting that top 3. There's no,
Right.
there's just no,
Yes,
it doesn't
yeah.
matter if it's good or not. This movie, I think it actually matters if it's good or not.
Yeah.
Yes, of the three, of the big movies we talked about, I think it's
Have
one of
we
the ones
said
that
all
could,
this-
it will shift
Oh,
more.
no, you had Mission Impossible. Other than that, we've all said Jurassic Park, Superman, and Fantastic Four so far, right? Or did you not?
Yes. So
I
let's
forget.
see.
I haven't say
what's your number
Fantastic Four either. Let's hear. Let's find out.
My number 4 is one that I'm basing solely off of its release. And that one is literally coming out
The Fall Guy.
in like 2 weeks. The Fall Guy 2. No, kind of in the same vein, but not the Thunderbolts.
I want to be
put that-
clear.
Can you please say the whole
This
title?
is Thunderbolts asterisks.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the Thunderbolts is my number 4 movie. Once again, it's been advertised to death, good, bad, or whatever. And I just think I don't have much to say about this movie, but it does seem like a re-envisioning. It seems very high energy, very action heavy. And yeah, that's really, I don't have a
just
ton to say about
Need
it.
to clarify. So you're putting your Thunderbolts is higher than Fantastic. You have not said Fantastic Four yet.
No. I have
wild.
I don't have a lot of faith in Fantastic Four based on years
Nope.
past.
It's crazy to
Okay.
have more faith in Thunderbolts, but I won't say any more than that.
It just seems more fun to me, to be honest. Thunderbolts seems like more of a fun movie than
I'll
Fantastic
talk
Four.
more about it later if it appears on my
Who
list.
knows?
bum, bum.
Who knows?
My number 4 is How to Train Your Dragon, and that's because I have
Interesting.
like heard so many people saying that's the movie they're most excited about.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think it's the one that's going to pull a lot of the like millennial and early Zoomer in. Like that's going to be the movie. They're like, oh, I want to see this again. It's the nostalgia one,
Right?
And I think it because the How to Train Your Dragon movies, I don't think ever had. I think Jonathan, you weren't a fan of the number 3 or whatever,
Yeah.
but like most people still love them.
It's a weird
Like, I haven't
thing.
felt like it had the same thing as the live action Disney movies.
Mm.
So I think that is what's going to push it over Lilo and Stitch for me, which is why I put it higher.
Right.
And why Lilo and Stitch is my number 5. I think, Jonathan, what you said is right. Honestly, I do think the top 3 movies are very kid related. And that's why I put Fantastic Four. I think the fact Marvel Rivals is sort of like the Fortnite kind of thing where kids watch streamers. So it actually gets that kid push.
I think that's
Right.
an interesting
But
poll. Yeah.
How to Train Your Dragon, Lilo Stitch, unless these movies are like horrible, they're going to be the
Right.
kid movies people go to.
I just want to say the crazy thing about these two movies.
Mhm.
I want to say his name is Chris Sanders, or maybe it's a different guy, because I think two guys directed. But Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon came from the same directing teams.
Oh, really?
And
That's interesting.
And the original,
Wait, do you mean the live action ones or the
the
original?
originals, the cartoons.
Okay.
And I mean, if you think about it, like kid befriending monster, they're pretty similar.
Right. Yeah.
And the guy who directed animated How to Train Your Dragon is also doing the live action version of it. So it's just what a wild thing for that guy for this summer, and to be two of his
Having
movies
his two.
rebirthed for audiences. When these are both movies that I loved the originals of, and I always felt like were the underrated like dark horses of that, but apparently they were big. I don't know.
Sometimes you think something is underrated, but it's not because it is among the fandom. It's because the corporations don't advertise it as much. So you're
Right.
like, oh, no one talks about this because it's not it's like you maybe see Stitch, as an Easter egg in a Disney movie, but you always will see the princesses or something.
By the way, sorry, it's
Like going in the Disney
Dean
store.
DeBlois is the director.
Okay.
Chris Sanders is the other director who's not actually doing the new one. Anyway,
But yeah,
I just
both
lied.
of these movies, I think, fall under like what I said. They're huge millennial early Zoomer
Right.
bait. Like this is the same thing with Shrek. I think these all are in these movies of like what we're nostalgic about, not because we're told they're classics, but because we consider them classics.
That's interesting because I do think like the Shrek thing is more of like it's famous now because of the memification of the Shreks.
It
But I
is,
feel
but
like good.
the original was still considered a good movie.
Yes, yeah, and then they just made a bunch of them. But that's also like that's why we're on number 5 now for me, right?
you're
yes.
on number 5.
How to Train Your Dragon is number 5 because it's I think it's going to do I don't know much better, but better than the Lilo and Stitch. We've been burned by, or at least I have, by Disney live action movies in the past. I saw the last Lion King one. I saw the last the Snow White, and they weren't good. They weren't good. But I'm also like I'm not a Disney adult, so I don't have like that tie to things like that. Where seeing the trailers for How to Train Your Dragon and the story and all that, it is a kids movie, but it's a darker movie. It looks like the quality just looks a lot better than anything Disney has really put out. Main storyline Disney has put out in a very long time, and I think they're trying to one up Disney in that kind of sense. So that's why I definitely think that's my number 5. It is my number 5 pick, but I think it's going to do much better than Lilo and Stitch.
Wow. The one thing, which actually I think this goes back to Fantastic Four a little bit, is like you said, the Mufasa, Snow White, heard reports they didn't do well, and technically they did not do as well as they should for a Disney movie, but they still made
made
good
money. Yeah.
And
Well,
with everyone saying this is not a good movie, if Lilo and Stitch is, how's the movie? It's watchable. Like that's gonna make it. It's gonna get a lot. People are gonna be like, "Oh my god,
The problem
it's watchable."
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Lilo and Stitch is going to do better streaming. 100% it's going to do better streaming than it will in the theaters.
No. They only put their best movies on streaming.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, the first Lion King is not a good. The live action one is not a good movie. That was the most successful movie like ever made. It made billions. So the quality has nothing to do with it. They're all bad. Yeah, and yet most of them make a ton of money. Okay, so my number 5 now, and to me, this was I had this at number 6, and then I went, you know what? I'm really pulling for you, man.
Every movie would have been like, it moved up one.
Yeah. There's no confidence. But this was to me being like, I know I should be. I feel like this is one that's burned me on my lists before. I should put it lower to be safe, but I'm gonna go with my heart. And my number 5 is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Last Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 did not do great. I think I put it at number 5. My prediction.
No, we both put it higher, and it was number 8, I believe.
Ended up at number 8. And so the logical line of thinking is like, okay, people have backed away from that. Now there were some big problems with that movie. Number 1, Part 1. People hate seeing a Part 1.
Right.
This is the final movie, so people will be more excited. Number 2, they put it out like a week before Oppenheimer came out.
Right.
So it like lost all its IMAX screens and all its legs were cut off terribly. So I think they have learned from those mistakes. I think this is going to do better than number 7 did for sure.
God, I hope so.
So I'm hopeful that it's going to be a great movie, and I hope it's going to do well because I think it deserves to do well. It comes out the same weekend as Lilo and Stitch, but I think that's fine. I think that's good counter programming. So
unfortunately, Jonathan, it is a week right before the Oppenheimer for this summer, Karate Kid.
Of course. Well, everyone's excited for karate. I don't have a portmanteau. I don't know what to combine it with.
No, it's Oppenheimer learning karate. That's actually the movie.
Yeah.
Just throw bombs at people. Yeah.
So
Nuclear chop.
Number 2 feels out of reach to me, but to me, number 5 is the hopeful pick.
See, because of what you said with the word final, like I don't know. That's the faith I have in it because it's the finale. It's the wrap up.
I would love you to be right because I love this franchise and that would make me happy.
But you're right though. They did kind of screw themselves out of IMAX screens because not a lot of states have any IMAX screens, let alone
it was
multiple to show both of those back to back.
They messed up so bad. And I do think both Tom Cruise and is it Paramount that does these is like, we're not letting that happen again. Like they're out to get some money on this one.
And it's not even like if it's a good or bad IMAX movie. It's just like if any IMAX movie comes out, it's going to bump you because they have to clean house to put your next movie in there.
100%. Okay, my number 6 is, I have it the lowest, but you both already said it, How to Train Your Dragon. Like I said, I swapped this with Impossible. I thought I had it at 5 for a hot minute. This is one that it's like so hard because I agree this very well could do better, but there's so many big franchises. Like you gotta choose one of them to bump down at some point. I believe it's already had 2 sequels greenlighted. So like, they're positive about this movie. We also the theme park is now open, the new How to Train Your Dragon at Universal Studios. So clearly they have a lot riding on this franchise. They feel that it's going to do extremely well. This is another one, me personally, where I go, I'm maybe cautiously optimistic. It looks just like, why do I need to see this movie if I already have the animated version at home?
Right.
But audiences obviously
we've been
don't
saying
agree.
about all the live action Disney movies.
Right. Audiences feel differently. They are all about it.
To get on my soapbox about this though, there's something about people who are like, yeah, but cartoon anime is for kids.
Right.
Live action, then I don't have to be ashamed about liking it as an adult.
Right. Yeah, it's going to find new audiences. I think it could do better. I'm a little worried about it doing better, but I mean,
Toothless literally looks the same.
I do think like Lilo and Stitch, yeah, it is a bit earlier. There is plenty of time for it to get away from Lilo and Stitch. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. That's my number 6.
My number 6 is Fantastic Four. It's a nice. It's right. It needs to be on the list. I think it's going to do something, but I'm not as optimistic about this movie clearly as you guys are. So yeah, now my number 6 is the Fantastic Four.
All right.
How's that for
my
speed?
number
It's
6 is a movie that none of us have said yet.
Well, that's going to be probably the rest of our lists, right? I feel like we've covered the big ones, the obvious
I
ones.
feel
I
like
should
we're
say.
at the point now where it's like,
Yeah.
And I'm a bit worried.
This is where it gets harder.
I give this. I know. But I put this higher than a lot of other. Well, because some of the movies you've said are on my list, and they're lower than this.
Right.
But I feel they have competition in terms of genre with movies you've talked about. While this is, there's always, I think, one horror movie that does well because people like to see horror.
There's a lot of.
Which
anyway.
one are you going to go
I
with?
put 28 Years Later. I think that's the big
Interesting.
franchise movie that is gonna do well out of all of them. There was another one which you guys might talk about later, and we'll talk about then, that I initially was gonna put on my list, but then I looked and it did absolutely terrible. Like in the later years, even though it's like one that everyone memes on. So I thought it would be in the zeitgeist more. So I feel 28 Years Later it's still a big franchise, but it's just the one I think that will make it stand out a bit more.
That's your number 6.
That is my number 6.
Pretty high.
So my number 7
Pretty
though
high.
is the Thunderbolts Asterix movie. I think this is gonna not do well. I disagree with Ivan. I think it looks boring, generic. I don't care about
Number 7's still
any
pretty
of
well,
the characters.
but go on.
That's the thing. It like you look at Ant-Man, like I mentioned before, Captain America. I think their number, or not Captain America, because the year's not over. Ant-Man was number 8 total for the entire year, and this is Thunderbolts comes out the start of the summer, so it's got a lot of time.
Right.
So that's why I think, unfortunately, because it's Marvel. Even though I think a lot of people might be like, it's going to be the first movie of the summer to see. That's why I moved it all the way up to 7 for me. But I do think, like, it is I don't know if it's going to be the worst movie on my list, but it's definitely, like, of the movies I've talked about so far, it's the one I'm like, yeah, it's going to make money.
Well, it's just funny too because I look at it in a different aspect, but kind of the same way you're looking at it is because it's a fresh take. It's new. It's not the same stuff
It's
that
not,
we're.
though. It's Guardians of the Galaxy, just with the D-list character. It's not even Guardians. It's
Suicide Squad?
Thank you. It's Suicide Squad, but even less interesting.
But it's new characters.
Suicide
like
Squad,
newish
number 1
characters.
movie
You know,
of the summer.
We've seen them all.
well, we've seen them, but it's not the same. Like I don't give a crap about Captain America anymore. The last one was a terrible movie, and like we're growing old of these things summer after summer being
That
the
was
same
a new
movie. So this is like
character, by
a
the way.
fresher.
Technically, a new Captain America.
Yes, but the story of it. But anyway, my number 7 is an interesting one because the franchise is a big franchise that's done very well with some big name actors. But this is a movie that we're going away from the main storyline, and that is Ballerina.
Go on. So I need the full title. That you
Well,
said
the
it
full
wrong
title
already.
on here it just says
said it wrong already.
Ballerina.
No.
The full title is From the World of John Wick, Ballerina.
Thank you.
But on the wager,
Thank
just
you.
Ballerina came up.
No.
That is fair. It's actually really funny when typing in the wager, it ranks in alphabetical order.
I hate
So
that.
when I was making the list and couldn't find Fantastic Four, I'm like, is that like not technically in the summer? Oh God, I got to redo my list.
Oh, is it actually the Fantastic Four?
It's the Fantastic
Yes.
Four.
Oh man, I
movie, yeah.
had that wrong. Wow. Ashamed of myself.
But yeah, so I think this movie will bring because those movies they did quite well. This is kind of the same take on it, but just a fresher look on it. But yeah, that would be my number 7, and it's also a darker movie, not as dark as dark movies can go, but you know it is a darker movie than the rest that we've been seeing. What years? I mean, when does it come out? And it's a early in June.
6th.
Yeah, so it's a June movie. The last movies roughly did like 440 million, which it's not Disney good, but you know, it's good. And yeah, who doesn't love the John Wick franchise?
The guys who try to kill him.
Jonathan, do you agree? Did you put it on there?
I'm going to take this opportunity to talk about Ballerina because it is not on my list. And it started out on my list. Then it moved down to a dark horse. And then it left. It's a tricky summer. There's a lot of franchises.
A lot of franchises.
A couple of things about this movie. Supposedly, they had to do a lot of reshoots. I heard that the main John Wick guy came in and did a lot of reshoots because the movie wasn't good. Don't know if he fixed it, but that's usually a bad sign. And also, I just think it's a chance. It could do well. Definitely a chance. But it's a John Wick movie without John Wick. And last summer, we saw how a Mad Max movie did without Mad Max, which wasn't as good.
So I guess a little bit of spoilers here. It is not on my list, too. And exactly for what you just said, we both put Furiosa on there. And it was a very good movie. It did not make the top 10. I don't think Ballerina is. It is a dark horse. I'll just say it now.
Okay.
Because I do think John Wick, it's like, it could be something like maybe John Wick actually appears in there as a weird or something.
He's on
like,
the poster, so there might be a cameo.
Right. I definitely think it'll bring people out and a different age than the rest of the other movies out as well.
Honestly, I think they're actually worried about that. The reason why the title is From the World of John Wick Ballerina.
They're like,
they want people to hear that.
Gotta know. You gotta know. What a terrible.
But I do think
the worst they could have come up with, by the way.
That's why I think Ballerina is just like why it popped up. But anyway, but I do think a lot like this movie does. A lot of the John Wick movies do aim towards the older crowd as well.
Sure.
I mean, it's all over the place.
R-rated, yeah.
Well, but I mean, like over 40 years old. Where I feel like a lot of the movies that we were talking about in our top 6 are really between like teen and 40. Like that's a very, other people will see them, of course, whatever. But like, it's that group of movies where it's like, you do need sometimes something on your list for the others.
My number 7 is also Thunderbolts ***. I think this does have the potential to break out if it is good. I'm not as negative about it as Will is, even though we have it in the same position. I hope that it's good, and I think the concept can be fun, and I'm gonna go see it. But I do think it's like, again, even more so than Fantastic Four, it has to be good to really do really well.
Right.
I think audiences are not as excited about this one.
This is always part of the problem with the list. There's always it can be a bit of a bias you have to be careful of. I just never liked the idea of the Suicide Squad. And
interesting,
which is like this kind. Well, because this is not the time for that.
But so for me, like I think this is going to better because it is the grittier, dirtier kind of thing, and we kind of saw that with
except
Deadpool.
All the trailers I've seen of it don't feel darker and grittier. They feel goofy and silly, and it's more of the common trend now. Like Guardians was unique. I think Guardians was a fantastic movie, and there's a reason why it made number 1. But I feel like there've been so many copies of it. It has to do with the whole thing, too. We've had the discussion of comedies don't exist anymore. It has to be a comedy action adventure.
Actually, it is funny that you say comedies don't exist anymore. There is no straight up comedy.
There hasn't been one for a decade. They don't come out anymore.
Sometimes they try to do, but you're right. They go straight to streaming.
Well, there are some, but they're actually, but they're not going to be in the top 10.
This just feels like a blueprint movie. It's still going to make money.
Well, yeah, it's the same kind of, it's funny that you say it's kind of like, the Guardians is, but Guardians is the Avengers, is Thunderbolt. Like it's all a team working together.
Well, no, because to me, the Avengers are the people you look up to. Guardians were like weird nobody's getting together. And Suicide Squad is like, they're bad guys, but we like them.
Specifically the villains teaming up.
Right. Yes, and that's what this feels here. But the difference is, I feel like, can you name any of the villains right now, Ivan, in the Thunderbolts?
You don't ask me, because you know I can't.
I can't name you any of the actors, or any of the, like, no, I'm not a superhero
like, even
person.
if you could name them, like, Jonathan, how likely do you think, though, someone could, if I said, even before the movie, like, can name me a Suicide Squad member? I think people could still say Harley Quinn or Deadshot.
A star to center it around, whereas I don't think all the characters are like Disney Plus TV show characters or like from Black Widow.
I know there's one character in there. I literally told you was in there, and you're like, who's that again?
I mean, Bucky's in it, so that's kind of your biggest guy.
I think
but-
Bucky's in there because none of the other characters were big
But
enough names.
before
Yeah.
the Suicide Squad movies came out, minus Harley Quinn, could you name any of them? No.
No, but I
Yeah,
think
you
Harley
could.
Quinn's
They
enough.
were used a
though.
lot.
And
The
Joker.
average person.
Remember, Joker was in there too, so you did have
Right.
that.
I would say
Um,
the Joker and Harley Quinn were probably
Guardians
the
is the
biggest.
better
but
example. Nobody knew who the hell the Guardians of the Galaxy were. It's not that you can't build a franchise with no names, but it does mean it's a more uphill battle.
They-
Oh, it's a harder. Yeah.
It's harder, and sometimes like it's the same thing as like sometimes you watch, you're like, oh, we got James Gunn, we're letting him do something weird and creative, versus oh, you saw this work 10 times
Some
before,
guy.
we're gonna try it
All right.
again.
All right, I'll get to my number
Yeah.
8 now.
Number 8.
Mhm.
My number 8, which is another movie nobody has said yet, and it is one of the only, not the only, but one of the only movies on my list that is not part of a franchise, which is Pixar's Elio. This is the only movie on my list, one of the only movies of the summer that is a pure cartoon animated movie. Pixar movies
Okay.
tend to do much better with sequels. But I think I'm basically putting this at number 8 because I think it's going to do what Elementals did a few years ago, which is I think it's going to not blow anyone's minds, but it comes out on June 20th. It's going to be there the whole summer when you need to take your 5-year-old to something and Jurassic World's too scary and they
Right.
already saw Lilo and Stitch. This movie's going to be there. And I think it's going to leg it out by the end of the summer. So,
Well, no. If you have that issue, you know you're taking the kids to see 28 years later.
of course.
That's what the
You gotta
5-year-olds want to
scar
see.
'em early.
So that's my 7, and that's my number 8 is Elio.
And my number 8 is also Elio.
Oh, there you go.
For all the
Elio
same reasons,
boys.
I wanted to make it higher because Pixar movies normally do well and they have the Pixar name, but I think they will be buried by the other Disney and was it DreamWorks movies that are coming out this year. But yeah, basically, yeah. For all
Lilo
the same
and
reasons,
Fantastic Four,
it's the
and
only real
Dragon.
cartoon, like cartoon.
Cartoon.
So, yeah.
Cartoon.
My number 8
Gonna join us?
is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Aw.
Because I looked at the same year that Mission Impossible, the last one came out, it was number 8, and below it was a Pixar movie.
Elemental?
So I put the Pixar movie, Elemental, at the same rank. 'Cause I imagine this is going to be a repeat for those 2 years.
I think
for these
you've
two
not
movies,
put
not
enough
those
confidence in Tom Cruise. I think he's coming higher than 8 this year.
No, the Mission Impossible one, I'm a little worried about. I'm not about the Pixar one. I literally don't know what this movie's about. I've not seen anything on it.
Yeah, and that I
I
always
think
hate
It's a
that
sci-fi
with
thing. That's, yeah.
But that's the thing. I think with so many sequel stuff, it is one of the only animated movies out there. There was
Right.
another one that's not on my list. I doubt it's on anyone on the list here. It could be someone's Dark Horse, so we'll wait until the end. But it which usually, fills a niche. But I feel like the live action Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon is in its niche.
They're
enough.
eating its lunch for sure.
I do feel Mission Impossible probably might be too low. I didn't think about the Oppenheimer thing. That definitely makes me sweat a little bit. But I definitely think it's going to do better than Pixar. My number 9,
Wait, I thought
I have technically mentioned
I thought
it.
your 8 was Mission Impossible and your 9 was Elio. Or did I mess
No,
up?
I just said my 9 is below it.
Oh, I assumed your Elio was number 9. Okay.
Elio's not my number 9.
Okay.
My number 9 is actually Karate Kid Legends.
Okay.
Because I looked up the last Karate Kid.
hmm
Well, first of all, I actually was moving so much stuff around. And I was like, I feel Elio's going to be 10. Like, I was going to lock that in on 10. I think that's going to be my, just like Elemental. So I was like, what the hell is 9? And I landed on this one because I think if it gets on this list, it's 9 or 10.
Right.
It's not getting above this. It's either not on the list at all or it's getting here. But I do feel it has like Jackie Chan in it. It's got that little bit of Karate Kid still gets into the younger audience still, but it might be the kind of thing where it's like, well, it's got karate, so I can go watch it as a dad and like still enjoy it a little bit. So I'm like, you know what? It's like it's my dark horse that I'm more confident in than my dark horse.
Right. My number 9, right? Is
Yeah.
that where we're at?
Mm-hmm.
Lilo and Stitch. Don't think it's going to, it's going to do well, but I'm still I still have the mindset of it's a Disney live action movie. I don't think it's going to do that well, especially with all of the other Disney properties, because a lot of times these movies will do better and they'll put a movie out like Snow White where there's nothing around it. So it can sit in theaters for months and people will eventually go see it. In the summertime, one of these live action movies, could it do a lot better? Possibly. but it could. I think it might get like sucked into another spot, and people will either forget about it, or it'll be in and out. But that is my number 9, Lilo
Yeah.
and Stitch.
I mean, yeah, I think that's too low. This is really where it gets hairy because my bottom 5, including the dark horses, so 9 and 10 of my, like, I swapped them around so many times. My number 9 is 28 Years Later. A huge fan of the original movie. I'm very excited for this. They got the original, they got Alex Garland, they got, I think, Danny Boyle's back directing it too. It's like the same team. I can't wait. So excited. The first 2 movies, zombie horror movies, they didn't make that much money. So my first instinct was like, no chance I was not putting that on there. Then it was maybe a dark horse. But people keep talking about it. Apparently the trailer like got a ton of attention online.
That was actually why I put it higher than the other. I forgot about that. I remember looking, it was like, I think it was 25 million. I think it was like, if I ranked these by trailer views, it's in the top 4.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel that confident about it. I think it's risky because horror movies they tend to not make a ton of money compared to other movies. So there's a lot of times there's like that breakout, there's The Conjuring or something like that, but I don't know. I put it at 9. We'll see. So then my number 10, which is always the toughest one. You do get more points if you get 10 right, but it's like very hard to do.
Well, 10 and 1.
Right.
But
another movie nobody has said yet. A movie that could do better than this. Could do a lot worse. And it's my other original franchise movie. The movie is F1. This is the racing movie with Brad Pitt. It is things this movie has going for it. Number 1, Brad Pitt. Number 2, Joseph Kosinski, the guy who did Top Gun Maverick. Nobody thought Top Gun Maverick was going to do well until it came out and was the biggest movie of the entire year.
Right.
So I really had to look at this and wonder, like, I had it at 7, I had it at 8. I was like, who knows? Maybe I could go huge and crazy and put it at like number 3 and just go, he's going to do it again. I don't think he's going to do it again because it comes out pretty close to the big July movies, but maybe this is for me, like the sort of older demographic, like you were saying, Ivan, for whichever one you put for that, I forget. John Wick. I think it'll maybe
say the full
or
title.
maybe it'll be for the, whatever. The Twisters kind of thing where like the Midwest areas go for this more. I don't know. The South, whoever watches racing, I don't know. So it's my number 10. I don't know. That's how I feel about it. I'm curious if where it ends up for either of you.
It's not, I'm going to say it's not on my list at all.
Okay.
And it was multiple times. This is one that with all of the big titles that are coming out this year, this movie seemed like it could do well if a few of these were gone. Because we don't have our twisters. I guess this would be the twisters of the summer. We don't have that. We have a lot of action movies, but we don't have a lot of that sort of action movie, like an action adventure drama kind of movie. And then I was thinking the last race car movie that I saw was Gran Turismo.
Which did pretty well.
It did pretty well. That's why it kept popping in and out of my list. But it's also like, with all the big names we have coming out this summer, not actors, but big movie franchises, I feel like this would get buried. But you're right. This has been on my list. It was number 5. It was number 10. It was a dark horse. And then finally, I'm like, I need to put other stuff here. And it had to go away. And it might just bite me in the ass later because this one, like, it looks like it's going to be a good
what is
movie.
your 10 then?
I don't know. I stopped at 9. No. My number 10 is Karate Kid. I think Karate Kid is going to be that nostalgia grab movie of parents taking their kids out, be like, "Hey, I saw this." It has the stuff behind it with the Netflix show, right? I forgot the name of it. The Netflix Cobra Kai.
It's unclear to me how much of that show is actually canon to this movie, but
assuming it's none of it, I'm going to say it still has the title.
Yeah, that's the thing. That was my thought process, Jonathan, too. Because I'll sort of go into this. My F1 was the one competing with Karate Kid.
Okay.
For me. It's a dark horse for me. And I agree with a lot said, but it came down to a few things. One, I agree, Ivan, there's a lot more nostalgia. Not just for the title, but like I said, Jackie Chan.
Because what year did the
It's
first
got
one?
a month on F1. It releases May 30th when F1 is June 27th.
Right.
And I feel F1 just might feel more like the dad's taking me to go fishing movie.
Right.
But the dad's
A
going to
little
take
bit
you whether
more.
or not you want to go. You're getting in that car.
Yeah, but the kids are more likely to say, can we see Karate Kid Legend? It's more of like the dad might put that in as like, I'll see on my own.
It is a family movie. Like, I mean, yes, there's fighting and stuff, but it is a family-based movie. The last one
Yeah.
came out in 1984. I know we've had, not last one, the first one came out in 84. Don't really know what the last one did. I know that was
It did pretty well.
interesting.
It did well.
It did pretty well. Okay. And it comes out in May. So it does have a lot of standing room to grow if it sticks around with that one as well.
So my number 10, like I've been hinting, basically it is Elio. I think they do a really bad job of advertising the non-sequel Pixar movies. And for whatever reason, they like to take the ones that are actually unique and interesting and good and not put them in theaters. But Inside Out 2 did really well. So I think Pixar is back in people's good graces. But I do think it's going to be like Elemental. I don't imagine it's going to make it into the above the top 5, above the bottom 5, especially with the live actions, especially with the superhero movies, unless it is an absolute just banger of a movie. I'll do my dark horses.
Yes.
F1. Like I said, I thought it was going to come pretty close. I still kept From the World of John Wick Ballerina, but I really will be shocked if it makes the list just from all the evidence I've seen.
Right.
I haven't even seen ads for it at all either. So I have a bad feeling that movie's actually going to bomb. And the other one is, this is the other horror movie I was thinking of, was Final Destination Bloodlines. Because so many millennials, you can just trigger them by mentioning like a pool or a truck carrying logs. It seems like it feels like Shrek kind of zeitgeist. But I looked up how much money they've made, and it ain't a lot.
And the last one wasn't good.
Yeah, so
Final Destination 5?
Are any of them really good? No, but
5 is one of my favorite ones.
okay.
I don't think it did well. I think I looked it up, John. And it
I'm
was
sure
like
box office.
number 80.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
So that's the thing. I felt like the years or the 28
no,
series
6 was the last one.
did better.
How many are there? Is this one? It doesn't matter. Why are we talking about this? Go ahead.
Yeah. So that's why I think it has a possibility of being the other horror movie.
Mhm.
But like it just, I don't have any evidence to point to it outside of just weird meme culture. And Morbius was a meme too, and that's not a good movie.
Number 1, 28 years later. You know, going by, I'm hoping it does basically all the stuff that you were saying, Jonathan, about, you know, people wanting to go see it. The other movies didn't do well. They didn't do well, but it was also in what the budget was versus how much it did. It technically did well because they made back their money. I mean, the first one was all shot on like handy cams and stuff like that.
Snow White's the opposite. It still technically did well, but I think with how much money they spent on it, they've lost a ton. So it's always fun.
And, you know, it's been a long time. It hasn't technically been 28 years. But, you know, it's going to do well in theaters. I'm going to see it opening night. These are just great movies, in my opinion. Then my second one is another horror movie that I think might do decently, but, you know, where I place it, M3gan 2, which I call M5 at this point.
But I had that initially, but then I heard the plot.
I mean, they're not good movies, but people will see them.
Yeah, but I think the plot like this one even sounds more of a jump the shark moment. So I think if it does get on this list, it's because people are watching it for a meme. I think this has like a Morbius kind of feeling to it.
But definitely, like if you look at the new imagining of the doll, it's weird. But yeah, and then my number 3, because I forgot we needed a third, I just kind of went with one that I needed.
We've only done this for like a decade.
I wipe it every year. The Surfer.
I don't even know what that is.
It is the Nick Cage beach movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it might be an A23.
Didn't see the A24. Why are you taking a number from them?
No, because it's not A24.
No,
It's A23. It's a different studio.
This is like the asylum to A24.
Right.
Yeah, it's an A23. It's just as good. Come on.
And it comes out May 2nd. It's a fun little creepy beach movie. I always like to throw one of those in there because
You already locked your list in, right? You didn't literally pick that while we were recording.
No. This was, I mean, I picked it
Okay.
when I opened up the website.
Okay.
But
Wait, you have a creepy beach movie, Lilo and Stitch.
but yeah, I always like throwing an A24 movie in there because sometimes they do something interesting.
Okay, my first dark horse is Karate Kid Legends. Like you guys, I was swapping this with F1, but I just went with F1 instead of Karate Kid. I do not know what the hell to do with Karate Kid. Because at first I thought, nobody cares about Karate Kid anymore. Like, that's not going on the list. Then I, like you, looked up the last movie and I was like, oh, it did pretty well, actually. Made like 150 million or something domestic, like pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, do people like, I know Cobra Kai is big, but I also feel like the Cobra Kai people, they're watching that on Netflix. Are they more likely to just stay home and wait for the streaming? Ultimately, I put it as the dark horse because it comes out 1 week after Lilo and Stitch. And I think the kids are just still going to be all about the Lilo and Stitch. And I don't, I think it's, but it could hit that number 10 or 9 spot. I don't know. The other two dark horses, I also have Megan 2.0. Megan 1 did really well on a low budget, but and not in the summer, but it did really well. And people memed the crap out of it. And you, Will, saying the plot is ridiculous, I think it will be a strength for this movie. I think that is what people want.
No, I think you're right. I think that's why I said if it does well, it'll be because of how memey it will become.
Because there was like 5 minutes of the first Megan where she's dancing that everybody latched onto. And I think they said, oh, they looked at that and now that's going to be the whole movie, which could be good or bad. I don't know. And then my third dark horse is also Final Destination Bloodlines. Same exact thing. These movies do not do well there, but neither did 28 Years Later movies. So there's a chance this could be, apparently this also got pretty big trailer views online. The nostalgia could be there for it. I do think the R rating and it's like the gory nature of it, this I think is actually too niche to really break out in the top 10, but I still put it in there.
So how do you guys feel now that we've set our lists? We always share a lot, but then there's always, where did we place them? How one person feels confident versus the other. Like, how do you feel now?
Well, should we just do
I texted Jonathan last night, I hate my list. And you responded, I hate mine too, basically, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Like,
can we,
like, how do you feel now hearing
Can we just
them?
do a quick, everybody just says theirs, repeats it so that I can get it in my brain?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay, at the count of 3. 1, 2.
I'll start us off. So starting from number 1, I'm going Superman, Fantastic Four, Jurassic World, How to Train Your Dragon, Lilo and Stitch, 28 Years Later, Thunderbolts, Mission Impossible, Karate Kid, Elio. My dark horses being F1, Ballerina, and Final Destination.
Mine is Jurassic World, Mission Impossible, Superman, Thunderbolts, Asterisk, How to Train Your Dragon, The Fantastic Four, Ballerina, Elio, Lilo and Stitch, Karate Kid, 28 Years Later, M. Thregan, and The Surfer.
Mine, Superman, Jurassic World, Lilo, Fantastic Four, Mission Impossible, How to Train Your Dragon, Thunderbolts, Elio, 28 Years Later, and F1 with Karate Kid, Megan, and Final Destination.
So it is, we all basically have the same movies
pretty
on the
much.
list.
I think the big standouts, I'm putting...
I already feel like I need to switch 2 of them.
I'm putting Lilo a lot higher, I think, than... Where was your Lilo, Will, at 5 or 6?
5.
Okay, so not that much higher. But I'm definitely putting way more confidence in Lilo. Ivan, you're putting way more confidence in Thunderbolts and Mission Impossible. I think those are your two, like, big differs from us.
Jonathan, where did you put Mission Impossible?
I have it right at 5, which I think is even optimistic.
The switch I regret now, and I've already locked in, by the way. And
It's
not even
locked.
before this recording, I was locked in, so I can't even edit the video to be like, my number 6 is this. I think I should have switched 28 Years Later and Mission Impossible.
Where's your Mission Impossible?
It's 8 because I copied it from the year it came before. But now it's what you said earlier about the Oppenheimer. I didn't think about that.
I would be shocked
but
if 28 Years Later does better than Mission Impossible.
But I think what we have to start talking about a bit more, and we should ask now, is which of these movies is going to have the best popcorn bucket?
I mean, How to Train Your Dragon is the obvious answer. Stitch. I mean, a big dinosaur. What do you want?
I feel Jurassic World could have a really good one.
It's going to be Superman because they're going to make it basic. It's just going to be the S. It's going to be cheap and easy to make.
It's going to be his whole body.
No,
and
people
you
don't want cheap.
Pick the cape up and there's popcorn in his back.
Look, we want to spend money on collectible popcorn containers. Like, people want a Jurassic Park egg that glows in the dark. But, of course, you let us know if you made a list and, of course, how we would compete. And maybe if you score better than us, maybe you can make a suggestion of what we need to watch. But You can leave that comment when we do the autopsy of our list. I don't know what you call
The breakdown.
at the
I
end of the
believe the word
summer
you're looking
list.
for is the starts with an M. The modus, not a modus operandi.
Anyways,
Postmortem.
there'll be another
Postmortem.
video. We'll talk
We
on the
did it.
scores, and whoever
was
wins
Latin.
will say what they have to watch. But whatever you do, you can just use the list down below. You'll see on the site. Very easy to just put everyone's scores there and just watch during the summer. You don't even have to watch the movies. Though odds are you may want to watch the ones in your top 5 because, give them a little
Give 'em
boost.
a boost.
Maybe you don't want to watch movies. Maybe you want other forms of entertainment. And luckily, you already know Roll for Crit because this is where you're watching it. But we've got some very interesting people with other things to tell you about. Where could they
Where?
get entertainment from you guys?
Us? Well,
Yeah.
main channel is the Snack Guy. Review snacks of all different kinds, shorts and whatever. That's youtube.com/the Snack Guy. And my brand new channel that I put out like 2 weeks ago is Gaming with Ivan, is where I take my live streams that I do over on Twitch, throw them on YouTube, cut them up, and you guys can watch them over there. That's the @ is like something ridiculous because all YouTube names are gone. But just search Gaming with Ivan on your YouTube browser.
Wow, exciting.
Yeah, and you're live on Twitch there with that too, so you can watch you live there.
Twitch,
I'm a little
I'm Twitch
disappointed.
IvanRHahn.
Watch you playing the newest Civ, and you have yet to tariff anyone. You know that's the winning strategy.
Well, you have to do that later on. You have to,
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
And Jonathan, what about
You
you?
can find me at, just go to my personal website, jonathanestis.com. You'll find links to all my projects, videos, podcasts, articles I write for gonintendo.com, or follow me on Letterboxd. And I know Ivan's on there as well. So if you want to follow not just how the movies are doing, but what we think about them, that'll be happening too.
Please go and give them a follow. It's always great. You know how the internet economy works with likes, follows, subscribes. So that would be great as well. And of course, leave your comments on what movies you're looking forward to as well, whether you think it's something that'll make a lot of money or one you actually want to see. We would love to hear it. But for now, thank you so much for watching this very long list. But it's a lot of fun for us, so we want to always keep it open for you to join us as well. I'm Will, and thanks for watching Roll for Crit.
Bye.